Mate, how many times I need to tell you I'm already Tracer?
Nah,
You get it, like the meme?
bro. You can't be saying that shit.
Dead meme? What are you talking about dead meme? I just saw it. Hold up, one sec. That's me back. What are you saying? Alright, welcome to the Mind Of Basit Show. This is something new I'm trying out where I talk about something I struggled with, how I overcame it, and then sharing it with you in case you're in a similar situation. For my first video, I thought it would be super meta if I talked about the internal struggle I had to overcome to make this video. It's essentially a video about procrastination, but I'm talking about it more from the point of view of procrastinating on something you want to do. I know it sounds weird, let me explain. It's easy to understand why we procrastinate on stuff like essays, homework, studying, but what about when it comes to your goals and dreams? I found myself in that position recently. So a month or two ago I decided I wanted to do YouTube. Great, but every time I thought of starting, I felt there was this invisible barrier holding me back. It was stopping me from getting off my ass and making videos. First thoughts were I was lacking ideas or I didn't have the equipment I needed. But I've got ideas on deck and I have all the equipment I need, but I still wasn't starting. And this was something I knew would be fun and I knew I wanted to do, but I still couldn't get myself to start. And this was when I first came face to face with what was stopping me. Some say it's enough to end a man's whole career before it even begins. I call it the hump. And I know what you're thinking. I'm not referring to the lovely lady lumps referred to by Fergie in the 2005 banger My Humps by the Black Eyed Peas. You silly goose. I'm talking about some big, scary humps.
Check it out.
I know, pretty scary stuff. So time to answer. What are these humps? How do we get rid of them? Why do I feel empty inside? All good questions. Let me explain. To explain the hump, I'll do an example. We'll use me and my desire to make YouTube videos as a goal for this example. But of course you can replace that with whatever your goal is. Maybe it's starting your own business, maybe it's making music, or maybe your goal is to build this Japanese house in Minecraft without creative mode. But so far, you've only built whatever this is. Yikes. And now because the project has gotten too big, even the thought of loading the game is daunting. So yeah, it can be whatever you're struggling with, nothing specific. Anyway, back to the example. Say this is me sitting on the couch thinking, you know what, I should get off my ass and start working on that YouTube video. And say this is me actually working on the video. To get from desire to start to actually starting, I need to overcome this hump. I realize this hump, or invisible resistance, whatever you want to call it, essentially the thing that's holding me back are thoughts.
Boom.
Not that one, that one. I realised that once I start actually working on whatever I've been procrastinating on, it's never as bad as I thought. It's the thought of starting more than anything that's holding me back. What makes things worse is, the more vague, challenging and out of our comfort zone our goal is, the more resistance we'll have to starting, meaning the larger and more daunting our humps become. Also sometimes if we keep delaying and procrastinating on something, the bigger and bigger our humps will get until they're just
dummy thick.
And not in a good way, to the point where even the thought of starting instantly exhausts you. That was me with making YouTube videos and the Minecraft castle. All this means is when you finally have time to work on whatever your goal is, you're more likely to choose something with a smaller, more manageable hump, like playing a game or watching some guy on YouTube, than actually starting, meaning your goals and dreams keep getting delayed and may never get done. So now we've been able to visualize that invisible barrier that can hold us back from starting. We can now talk about my 2 tips I use to keep my humps in shape. So tip number 1 is break down your large vague goal into small clear steps. As I said before, if your goal is way too vague and big, like just saying making a YouTube video, you won't have any clue of where to begin, making it difficult to start. So what I did was I broke down that goal into sections like script writing, recording, editing, but these are still too vague, so I broke it down even further. The goal is to break it down until they're manageable steps. For example, for the script writing section, I broke it down into tasks like introduction, problem, explanation, solution, outro. Now this made starting a lot more seamless for me, because when the desire to start kicks in, it's all laid out for me, so all I need to do is pick my focus for the day. By focusing on the individual step and not the project as a whole, It makes starting a lot more easier because you're not paralyzed by the thought of the entire project all at once. You only see that one immediate task you're focusing on, and eventually those individual tasks will add up to make the whole project. How would you climb a staircase? One step at a time. That's the same way I see projects.
Started.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team. Yeah, started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now that whole team here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team here. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
You know what I meant, you cheeky shit. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, that means the small steps I took every day paid off. Another benefit I found to doing this was the sense of accomplishment I got after I finished a task. That made starting the next task a lot easier, causing a momentum effect. It makes the progress of working on your project flow a lot better, and it makes it more rewarding as you're working on it, instead of only feeling that rewarding feeling at the end. So using the hump example from before, step 1 is breaking down that big hump into a bunch of mini humps. This brings us to tip number 2, lower the bar. You know all those Instagram quotes you see about raising the bar? Time to. So this tip is basically, once I've got my list of steps and I've picked what I'm going to focus on that day, I don't make the goal to finish that individual task. I lower the bar and I make the goal to work on that task for some ridiculously small amount of time. My go-to time is something like 5 minutes. Working on something for 5 minutes is super easy, meaning there's not much resistance to getting started. We're essentially bypassing the hump. The real magic happens when the 5 minutes are done. One of two things happens. If after 5 minutes I don't want to continue, then I don't. I've accomplished my goal and I've made some small progress. And like I said before, those small steps add up. But what I find happens more often than not is when the 5 minutes are over, I realise the hardest part is behind me. Like I said before, the thought of starting is much worse than it actually is. So once I see I've made it over the hump, I think, I might as well keep going. By that point, I've already started coming up with ideas and getting into the flow of whatever I was doing. That's when time flies by. So yeah, tip number 2 is we're essentially tricking our minds. That's all folks, thanks for... You hear that? Bonus tip. Wow, it looks like we've got a bonus tip today. Aren't we lucky? What the fuck? This tip mainly applies if you're trying to do something creative. If my inaction is caused by me feeling uninspired or doubting myself too much, I watch movies and listen to songs that I rate highly. Things that get me thinking that this movie or this album was just an idea in that person's brain at some point. They probably had times where they doubted themselves and struggled making it, but they were able to bring it to life. So why can't I? That usually serves as a final wee push I need to get the creative juices flowing again and to get me started. So if you feel like you're in a rut, try watching and listening to the shit you love. It might spark that flame inside you again. Thanks for watching, that is the end of the video. Let me know if you try anything I mentioned in the comments below. Finally, I will now proceed to summarize the video. My hump, my hump, my hump, my hump, my lovely lady lumps. Check it out. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Come on mate, come on. Did you hit him?
Oh, he did.
Hit or miss? I guess they never miss, huh?
Bro, what's up with these dead memes?
Come on, how is that a dead meme as well? I could have swore these memes were popping when I wrote the script.
Script?
I guess I've just been procrastinating too much.
What are you talking about script? Yo, answer me man, I'm freaking out. What do you mean script? Bro, you need to answer me because I'm bugging.